Hello YouTube. Wanted to show some stuff that I've been finding at my creek. I find these one or maybe two pieces a month or a week. They're very rare, and I've been calling them fossils because the way they look and the different features that I have on them. And I'm gonna show you what I have and let other people see on for their own and why I would be confused about it. This is how it started out finding it. And I started noticing the way these structures were the same in the pieces that I would find, and you'll see it more as I go through them. I don't know how different that's going to be wet, other than the colors. That's how I started out spotting it, is because it's so orange like that, and they're always thin, and they have a pouring kind of a way of, I don't know, my mind told me that it was bone. It really feels and looks like bone, and it has so many things in common as you find it. It's like one side's always completely different than the other, and some may not be the same. It's just the characteristics always look the same. So I'd pick it up because when I'd find it, it'd be orange like that. And in my research, I found that we used to have ancient salamanders that were 6 foot long, and they had huge uh, plates, sort of like a garfish would have a plate on it like armor. So I'm thinking maybe I just don't have any idea, only things that, you know, how you just think. I have some that I'm going to show quite a bit of stuff today. This is where that shape I was talking about starts coming in. You can see how it plays down like a flow. See how it gathers down into that right here. And there's a tip, and you can see this. In my imagination, that looks like a broken tooth from some kind of jawbone. And the way these lines flow in that same pattern, even though this is a smaller piece. And then again, it just gets really orange when it gets wet. And that could just be staining, that it absorbs that color so easily, because there is a lot of iron in that creek. It's just, you know, once you get your eye on something, and when you find it, it's like, wow, I got a piece. And I mean to tell you, this is a year's worth of me finding this stuff. And even if it just turns out to be whatever, I still believe it's going to make some beautiful pieces worked. Not that I've ever touched it to the saw. You can just, or the wheels, you can just tell by the way it feels that it's a good, hard, sturdy piece of rock or fossil bone. But you know, it's like meteors. People think they have them all the time, and they don't. Now, see, now this one's kind of different. I don't know how this got mixed in my stuff. I'm going to have to look. Let me see what it looks like wet. It kind of resembles it, but this is not. It don't have the same patterns that I go for when I'm actually looking for it. And you can see it has a. Maybe you can't see it. It has something going on inside of it. There's that flow right there. That's what gets me to keep it and try to figure out what exactly this is. Because I'm only finding it there in that one spot. It's like a mile wide. There's a nice size piece of it. Don't believe that whole thing's going to be able to be picked up, but you can see that flow line like it would have been a bone. And it's like I was saying yesterday, there's a piece that I have that actually has, see, that's like a jawbone. You'd have to really be able to feel of it. And those same patterns just occur. And it's just not everywhere. It is like completely rare to find it. And I've looked up some other stuff too. I've seen some other pictures to where it was a drum, the mouth of a drum or the inside parts of a drum, especially the large ones. There'll be a big flat stone with these round pieces inside of it, and I believe that I've got some of that too, because this could very well be fish bone, but it is definitely fossilized because it is a rock. I'm just thinking maybe somebody else could see it and know what it could possibly be. Everybody has different suggestions. I've had quite a few, but nobody really knows what it is. It just repeats. Some of it is darker, but I believe that's just from the iron in the creek, because there's quite a bit of it. And for some reason this absorbs it. I don't know if bone actually absorbs iron, or fossil would absorb iron quicker than other things. But I just started noticing these pieces when I first started going last year. Well, it would be 2023. October is when I started looking. But just the repeated patterns is what got me. And the flow that has there's places where it'll have this flow lines like growth. There it is again. Wet it. Oh, knew there was something going on. There we go. Sorry about that. Didn't have my light on. Knew it was something different from yesterday. I'm still learning. But this is the top point of it, and it all flows out. I don't don't know. I mean, it could even be a fossilized mushroom or something. Who knows? I've got a few things I've found in there. I just wanted to show these before I packed them up. I'm getting rid of everything and starting over. See how it's got that area and then it flows into the places where and it always looks the same on the bottom. The top of it always has the structures that grabs my eye. I've got quite a bit of it, so I'm going to be going through it. Try to go quicker this time. Yesterday it took me 6 hours to download that video, or 7. I started at 3 o'clock yesterday, and it was real late last night before it came in. I don't know what was going on. Everything was slow on YouTube last night. I couldn't even get my YouTube Create to work. And anytime they're doing upgrades, all the stuff stops working right. I've always been able to shut down any program that I was upgrading. So I never had the problem of having people actually own it while I was doing upgrades. I couldn't imagine the problems in the mail they start getting from people that are upset with them. But if you're going to move forward, you've got to upgrade your systems, especially with 10 billion subscribers. I looked that up. YouTube has 10 billion subscribers. Okay, you can really see in this one that motion that I was talking about in the way it's pulling and the structure's coming from the center again, and it pulls in. Then you flip it over and it's just almost completely different. Look at that. You can see some structure happening here. But there's never any kind of host rock connected to it. I always find it by itself. And like I said, I might find one piece when I go. Maybe. If I'm lucky. Because I've definitely got my eye open for it. This is my very first piece I ever found that got me thinking I had me a piece of bone. And it was too thick for human bone. I think I showed this yesterday when I was saying I was going to do this today. There's that flow again. It has that top peak. And then it flows out. The pattern just repeats. Hopefully I've got that piece where I feel like it looks like a... See, this is like going down like a bowl. It's not flat. But you can just see the structure and it moving. And that's going right along with that. It's all moving from this peak down. And there. I've really enjoyed my past year hunting these rocks and finding a new hobby. It's really helped me a lot. This one here is really domed, like just really. And you gotta remember too, I'm down there by an old riverbed that's been exposed, and there's no telling how old it is, because I'm finding a lot of fossilized wood. I find a lot of stuff that people don't even think that exists in my area. I've had them tell me, it's like, no, you didn't get that there. And it's like, yeah, I did. But I've learned to shut up when it comes to them telling me what I'd got and what I didn't find, because it don't help. I'm just searching for answers. See, there's that same pattern, it just repeats. And this again is thicker. But look at that. That's like, I mean, I've never seen anything else form like this. And I know I hadn't seen a lot because I'm new and I've never really hunted anywhere except my little spot. But I'm finding a little bit of everything, so I'm not gonna judge anything I've got, because I can't even name a regular rock. So anything like this is totally guess, especially on my part. I've just got to put it up. I'm gonna start collecting again, and I can't do that with my mantle full. Even with these small, all this is all out. You can feel every bit of it. And it's just got a feeling about it when you first you just see, I see that color and I'm like, oh, there's a piece. And if it's dry, it looks like that. But you can see the patterns. See that? And then you can see them flow lines. And for it to be in that creek for so long, look at that. See how that does? And for that not to wear out from the like a regular stone would be, it'd be just smooth and uh take those little places away. Well, this one might be a reach, because I still see that pattern though. I can see it in there, in that color. It's like a different part. There we go. And that flow, it's like this is the top. It all flows downwards. This is a bigger piece. Now this is the one I thought might be just don't know. It's just, you can see the shapes. It could have come from that artesian well, been down in there and collecting. And just, this is the one with the, that I said it had the teeth. You can see the actual holes, and then these pieces are still in it. I don't know. Don't imagine how it'd be. And you can see those structures here. So just your imagination, when you're looking at something for over a year and collecting it, you can really start seeing stuff in it. Because I've searched it with an AI and it don't know what it is. Nobody has ever seen it. But that really got me right there when I first seen that. I've got another piece that looks like that too. Like that was a jawbone of some sort. Or even a fin. Those could have been huge fins coming out of a plate. Like a catfish. I've seen inside of a catfish. And they've got these huge plates. And their fins and bones are kind of cartilage. I hope I've got that piece that it's just that same pattern just keeps repeating itself. How it's one way on the bottom, it's nice and smooth on the top, and you got those flow lines that's coming from here out. I've never seen it sticking out of a wall or anything. Just run up on it as I'm walking down the creek. In the strangest little places. It could be some kind of coral. Because, I mean, this place was under a shallow sea for a million years. And had a mile of ice over it before that. And dinosaurs before that. Meteor strike. So, it's been through a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to find anything. Especially after that meteor strike. And if it brought stuff up from a mile underground, which that's what Wetumpka is, imagine the stuff it covered up with all that material that's still being released today from places like where I go in that creek that's on that old riverbed. One more piece. I just noticed all the things that are in common. They all have something in common. We just can't figure out what it is. And I mean, I've had some really interesting people to look at it. I've just joined a new club in Montgomery, so I'll be able to go in there and ask. I was going to show this too. I found that joker. Same place. Like that. Looks like a bear claw. That is rock. And then I found this, and I had a professor tell me that this is a part of the inner ear of a whalebone. It would be just a part, like this section here, and all this would be filled. But when you got the inner ear, if you look that up, the inner ear of a whalebone, it is quite unbelievable. And that I just picked it up, and I kept it because I like that indention in there. And then they noticed it when I had it in my bag of stuff that I was calling fossils. And he's like, you know what that is, right? And I was like, nope. That's a part of an inner ear. It looks like a shell, that inner ear. It folds over right here. All this part is missing. But it'll fold over of a huge whale. I was proud of that. And this just looked like a piece of bone, because you can actually see inside of it the way a bone would look. Those little markings where they actually produce the blood. Or it's just a really nice hagstone. Spot the witches. I know what this one is. That was nice. That let me know that I was in the ocean down there. An old one. It may not be much to some people, but when you've never found anything like this before, it is very special, especially when you find it somewhere where you could not imagine. But I've heard lots of stories about shark's teeth and things like that, that during construction they find a lot. And then when you get down to not far from here, you can just find shark's teeth and stuff everywhere. And I've seen this before. When I was a kid, I thought they were Indian beads, which I am pretty sure that they used them for that. But that is a fossil to some sort of, I don't know the name of it, I forget. Like a long tube worm. And this is the first piece I ever found that I felt like it was bone. It's got holes going through it, like where I guess that would be a capillary vein was feeding the blood supply. These are all going straight through. And then when you just look at the inside of it, you can see some bone structure. And it's just the way it feels. There's just something about it. And I don't know, it's all a process. And I'm enjoying myself, and I believe that's what it's all about. I showed, oh, here's something else too. I find this stuff everywhere. It's a nice gray rock, and it's just got a nice texture to it. And that they'll have different designs. In my imagination, it was sitting somewhere and something was dripping on that and caused that hole. And somehow it broke loose and got in my creek, and I got it. I thought it'd be nice to fill it full of opal chips and sand it all down and have that. I've seen them do those fields before, and that would be something nice. I was wanting to show this because it reminded me of those pieces, but it's just so different that there's no way that's what it is. And nobody knows what this is. And this came from my creek too. You can see that little layer on top, and that's blue. You wet it. Now I have cleaned this, but I have no idea what that is. It's thin, and you can see that how thin that line is on top of whatever this host is. And it just, I just don't know. It looks like some kind of turquoise or something. At first I thought maybe somebody made something a long time ago with it, but that's not a definite line there. This looks like it could have been laying somewhere, and whatever mineral was coming over it deposited this, but I have no idea what that is. And it's a lot bluer than it's coming off on here. A lot more. And then it has an edge, and you can actually see it, that each one of those is a stone. I'm not sure if it was formed and then cracked. And I can't say I've had something for a long time because I've only been doing this for 5 months. Well, actually working with it and stuff. I've got some stuff I was wanting to show that I didn't get yesterday. Some of the stuff that I've worked that I find down there. This is one of the little heavy rocks that I pick up. And I actually cut this one and polished, I believe, one side of it. Yeah, that one hadn't been polished. But I find little gems like this all the time down there. I polished that one. Something behind this light, you can see your mistakes. But that's what I do. I go down and I find me stuff and I don't know, and I like to see what it will do and if it will take a polish. That one took it. And it's just got a nice little, it's got a good weight to it. And you can see that skin that kind of looks like a thunder egg from Alabama even. It's something, to me, you can find beauty in anything. Well, just about. But a rock, man, I can find something pretty in it. That's why I get stuck sometimes. I found this one, I got it in a video where I picked it up. And I worked it a little bit, enough to look at it, but I just didn't finish it. But you can see it wet. And it's that same stuff that comes through. It's beautiful. Somebody could really do something with it. I've got that pocket Wi-Fi coming, and I don't know if the other people do this, but I imagine things all the time about what I want to do and how I'm going to do it and all that. And it's like, man, I'm going to go down and sit in that creek, take my little table here, and sit down and do some work right there in the creek. Of course, not now, but when it gets time. But that's just a crazy idea, so I don't know. Look at that. That's always nice to me, because you know what you're dealing with. Might not know the name of it, but that's what it is. See that structure in there? And that's what amazes me. You want to see something pretty? This stuff right here. I can find this all in my creek. And it definitely has a nice shine to it. And then when you polish it, like I done that side, it is really pretty. Let me dry that off. Oh, this is one of my tests where I take it in and just to see how it polishes. That's a big, nice rock. But once you get that white skin that it builds up in that creek off of it, and there's not a fracture in this, it is beautiful. And you can actually see through it and see into it. That popped like, see, opal pops like that. Pops like glass. And I've got some pieces like this to where you can look down into it and see where it's got colors flashing like that. Here's the end. See, that's what I'll start on that end and just work it. Oh, wow, this phone is so different today. I never have a, shoot. Sorry about that, y'all. I've got to get better equipment to hold on to stuff. Get me further out. Hey, that's a little better. But see where yeah, that's better. See where I hit that end first. Just to see. Hope that didn't mess my whole deal up. There's another piece of it. Just different color. Different movements. That's what it looks like polished. Just me experimenting and looking to see what I have. That's why I picked these up down there at that creek. Throw them down because it's everywhere. Until you're looking for it. And when you're looking for it, you can't find it. But you can see straight through this. And you see by this how that, let me try it. How you can, how it has depth. You can see into it. I like it. I got plans for this. I'm gonna carve some stuff out of that. that cabochon I showed yesterday. Let's see here. That's opals. I just wanted to show. I found the rest of this stuff and I wanted to show. That one that I made. First I found the rock that I made it from and I took it into the shop. This is the rock that it came from. Right there. It was... Anyway, it came from this one. I can't actually see the spots because it's dry. But you can see where I took it in. And again, I polished the end of it to see what I could get out of it if it would shine. And it did. And this stuff is just really something. You can just flat work that whole rock. Because I'm telling you, I'm getting rid of this stuff and starting new. And I was saying I was going to do me a thing where I'm going to take my stuff back to that creek. Well, then I started thinking, you see that color flashing inside there. That's what I'll notice sometimes when I'm doing this stuff. You'll find, let me wet this end of it. I always like to find my spot where I pull that cab out. Looks like there. There it is. That's it, right there. Nope, because there's no... Well, whatever. Here's a piece of it that I marked and didn't finish it that day. Do you see how nice that is? You can't push it. It'll chip on you. But it's some beautiful stuff. And I know I have taken a whole piece of it, a big piece like this that was solid, and just polished the whole thing like that for my mother. And then you can see color down in it. Like they'll... Not sure what caused that. The man at my shop, again, that's all. That's the only information I can get from live people is when I take it in. He told me it was opalized. So I don't know how that works. Let me see here. That's another thing that I find a lot of. And I feel like it's some kind of bone. And maybe this has been worked, because it has got one kind of shape to it. It hadn't been long ago when I found this. But it definitely looks like it belonged to somebody at one point in time or something. Then got this. And when I picked it up, I've called it fossilized wood because it's definitely stone, but I'm not sure what that is. It looks like a piece of wood that it was exposed to the ocean and the barnacles and stuff ate on it and the worms, because I found wood like this before at the ocean that wasn't fossilized, where the worms had ate it up. because them holes are just perfectly made in there. Well, that's it, y'all. I appreciate it. There's my Malawi agate. Y'all have a good day. Be blessed.